They would with 4, 6 classroom additions onto them. Your core facilities would not change. But remember, according to the enrollment projections, that is not going to happen. Well, I don't know what's going to happen in 2025 and 2026, but at 2024, 25, you're going to be at 766. So you're looking down the future quite a bit.
And you have the additions?
Mark,
Yes.
The additions
You'd be amazed at how accurate they've always been.
This outline,
Very
on
good.
Niantic is a 4-classroom addition. 4-classroom addition is 80 kids.
That's what that'll, okay,
This one right there.
okay.
So your core facilities don't need to be any larger. I mean, your gym's not going to be any larger whether you have 200 students in there or whether you have 400 students in there. It's still going to be the same size gymnasium. Your cafeteria doesn't need to be larger. You may have an extra wave, but it's really not going to be any larger. Your main office is not going to be larger. Your media center is not going to be larger. So again, your core facilities will handle, let's say, your concern of maybe an additional 80 students in 15, 20 years from now. If anything, you may need 4 additional classrooms on these buildings, which is very much achievable. I wouldn't recommend building that now, because if you build that now, you're going to be further exceeding your space standards. Remember, the state is reimbursing you for a certain amount of square footage per student based on the highest 7-year projected enrollment. So if you build those classrooms now, your reimbursement rate is going to be lower.
In fact, you build them now at full cost to East Lyme
Exactly.
with no
Yeah.
reimbursement.
Okay, and lastly, the site of the Flanders School, that's in that hill, so you're going to excavate that hill?
Yep.
Okay.
Again, if that's the actual siting, that hill will affect the placement of the building. There's no question about that. But I'm not going to let, let's say, an $80,000 component on a $40 million building drive the siting of the school. I had a project in Clinton where there was a piece of ledge about 8 feet high behind the building. This is the Joel School. And the town would continuously, this is a K-3 facility, the town would continuously not even consider adding out to the building, and you just keep going out and out and out. That school was maybe a mile long, I may be exaggerating a little bit, but it really was not suited well, was not laid out well for that grade level. We said, bite the bullet, you're going to have to spend that money. It was about a $12 million project. Again, spend the money, get rid of that ledge, get rid of that hill. It's maybe $80,000. The school functions very well. It's a lot more compact. The core facilities are now grouped together. And again, similar here, that hill is not insurmountable as far as placement of the building is concerned.
Okay.
Let's remember this is just an overview.
Yep.
When they present their actual plan, we'll have a good chance to really dig deep.
Okay. Just a couple things. I know the hope is to get this moving forward as quickly as possible, and I think the town has always, as a community, always invested in every aspect of the educational system, and schools in our shoreline has shown has been our primary draws and attributes to draw people to our town. I think as you move forward and are trying to move this through the various boards and through the community, I think they need a little more detail of what the buildings will look like and what will be in there. And
Absolutely.
And the time is short. Also, you're talking about reducing costs. I think there needs to be a very good graph that shows, okay, this is what will cost, and how does that, the cost is one thing, how does that translate into how it affects people's taxes over the next couple of years? That are a couple of things that need to be done. And like I said, much more specificity as far as what's going to be contained in the schools and what they're going to look like. And the last thing, are there any current, you've said that the one school system isn't good for a lot of reasons. Are there any comparisons you can make to say it's been tried in these communities and these are some of the drawbacks or anything like that? I was just wondering if there's any comparisons for that.
We did look at, and now yeah, it's a good question. And frankly, on our first committee, there were a lot of folks that felt that that one school concept was the better choice. But as we played it out with various groups and so on, it became clear that in spite of the fact that we kept talking about it as a campus with multiple buildings on it, the community viewed it as one school. And there was a great deal of opposition that we heard to doing that.
As did I.
So there was and the cost savings of that was relatively small in terms of the comparison, so it didn't seem, maybe it didn't seem to fight for a losing cause.
Okay, thank you,
To
Jim.
be done- to be
Thank you,
blunt.
Dr.
Yep.
O'Barrow. Almost there.
Questions from the side?
Just, what happens with the students in Niantic Center while you're renovating that school?
The plan right now is Haynes is actually large enough to engulf Niantic as it stands presently. So basically, the enrollment probably would go up a little bit at Flanders to maximize that size of the building. We would then take the children from Niantic, relocate them to Haynes for probably 2 school years. 1 year, I'm sorry, 1 year. Demolish and renovate not demolish completely, but demolish and add on to the existing Niantic school, and simultaneously construct the new Flanders in back of Flanders. So, very
So
doable.
that's the temporary redistricting that's referred to,
Right.
sort of an initial phase and then a final one when the 2 schools are
You're,
completed.
you're actually very fortunate to have Haynes as large as it is. The Waterford projects required renting portable classrooms. We had 20 classrooms in Northeast School at one point. Quaker Hill was the first building that was constructed. Waterford went through the exact same thing that you're going through now. They had 5 buildings, getting very tired with a small population. Again, there was an outcry in the community. I attended all the public forums. Please do not get rid of our neighborhood schools. They're very happy with their 3 schools, and I know it's functioning very well. I'm in touch with Jay Miner, the facilities director, almost every other month, and they are thrilled with those buildings, and I think they came out pretty good.
Okay, nothing else?
Thank you.
I was wondering if you do have any conceptual drawings of the outside?
We will. Remember, we still have a good 4 months worth of work left. We're not even halfway finished with this.
But we're very curious
I guess-
people. We like to know.
Oh, and I will satisfy your curiosity. We are now completing the space standards and programming, which is basically a written description of all the components within the building. We had our 4th meeting today, 2-hour session. We will be reviewing that with the steering committee next Wednesday. Once that program is approved, I take that written program and transfer it into actual floor plans. You're going to see every bathroom, every toilet, every stall, every door, every seat and chair that's in that building. You're going to see exterior elevations of the building, exterior renderings. We'll have site plans much more detailed than these are. But we couldn't do that for all 8 concepts. It really would be cost prohibitive. This is a lot of work. My recommendation to the steering committee, as it is to all my clients that go through the same process, is you first have to make a decision on what is best educationally for the town. We'll make it work for you. And the steering committee and the board have decided on the 2-school concept, and that's what we're going to detail for you for further discussions. The budget estimate that you'll see for these buildings is probably going to be 20 pages long. Every single component is going to be outlined length of walls. So again, these are very conceptual. These are only a barometer to look at what is the most expensive concept to the least expensive concept. But proportionally, they're all correct. Okay?
Thank you, folks.
Yeah, so, Mark, just thanks for all the time. I apologize, we took a lot of time.
We had a lot of questions,
And
too.
good questions.
Yeah.
I mean, all very appropriate. There's a lot of work to do. And that's what you heard. And we're gonna be keeping the Board of Ed aware of what's going on, and more than glad to come and share at any point, any additional detail, and as that detail becomes available, we'll be in touch, and because I want to make sure that the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, and the community know exactly where we're at in the process and the things that are being talked about and decided, so everybody can understand. It's really important to have great communication at this point. So, thanks for the time.
Thank you. One comment, and you know where I'm going
Oh,
with
yeah,
this.
sure.
One of our most important charge as the Board of Selectmen is to protect property values, public safety, boardwalk and maintaining a vibrant downtown Main Street. The most important thing is the good schools, and you guys, that's your charge, obviously. That maintains our housing values. Those are the people that we're going to be attracted to our town. They're going to buy our houses, and we need to protect that. That's really important, and you guys do a great job of maintaining the quality of our schools. And Dr. Lombardo, you know, you've created a legacy, and I congratulate you as you're getting close to that day coming up, whatever that floating day is. Yeah. Okay, April 1st it is. And I congratulate you on all this work that you're putting into, and someone else will see to the end. You know that I think the schedule is very aggressive. I know we're talking about doing it this year. I think it's $100 million project that we're not sure what the building's going to look like yet, and I don't think the Board of Ed has even approved the actual.
No.
I mean, so there's a lot of work that needs to go before it even comes back to us, and then Board of Finance, and then the public who are going to be greatly affected by it. I know it's a good concept. I know the town needs to go there. I think that, I think with the middle school, we've talked about this. There was a vision committee, there was a design committee, and they were out on the streets for a year. A year.
16 votes.
Not a couple
that's right.
weeks. And you're saying 8 votes?
16.
Yeah.
16 votes.
16 votes it won by, and that was after a year of detail and people really getting, the devil's in the detail. I'm concerned that we're really aggressive in the schedule, and that the public is going to have the conception or the perception that we are pushing it and not being thorough enough with them.
Yep.
And they deserve that, and they need that. So I leave it to you. I put it back on your. I lob the ball back over the net. If you can get it done, get it done.
Yeah. We're gonna keep pushing, pushing the key step, the next step that needs to be done, the next step, so we can get to the stages where we can say, this is what the proposal is going to look like. This is so people can see it, start to react to it, and as it all becomes finalized. And then everybody can embrace and decide. We will all figure out how best to proceed with this.
Your tentative timeline shows that you want a referendum on this at the May. Well, those presented to us tonight.
And that's
I know
just, that's just to say here. This is how the timing could go.
And that would be
the whole
during
thing
budget
gets-
referendum,
yeah,
which might not be.
might not
well-timed.
be the right
But,
time.
thank you very much. You invested more than an hour here and really took your time with us. I appreciate it.
Okay. Well,
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Thank you all. Thank you once again to the folks coming in tonight to make that great presentation. And I'm sure we'll hear much more in the coming months. Next on our agenda is 2B. 2B is Selco lease on the Niantic Firehouse antenna. And Chris Taylor is here, our deputy fire marshal is here to explain what we're going to be looking at tonight.
Sure. My name's Chris Taylor with the Fire Marshal's Office. What we've been approached to do is at a cell tower site at Niantic Firehouse. We have an existing tower there now for our communications. And basically, they're looking at 3 small, the size of a pizza box antennas, just basically to get the excess data that's going across the train route. What they proposed to us is doing $6,000 a year, $500 increments per month, for a 5-year lease, up to 4 more additional leases at a 3% increase per year. So we start at $6,000 a year, increased by 3% per year. Typically now, it is less than what most of our cell towers are, but this is like a fifth of what the size of the other cell towers are. So it's a very small, compact antenna.
We have a drawing of it in our packets. Again, folks, all we're doing is adding a pizza box size acceptor or transmitter on an existing tower that's already on the Niantic Firehouse. So what we're voting on tonight is authorizing First Selectmen to sign the lease of the firehouse. It's been researched that that's the going rate for the most part. Do we have an accelerator on this?
We have a
Does every
3%,
year, does it?
3% per year.
3% a year?
Yep, for
And
5
it-
years.
it's a
And then They
5-year.
can renew it up to 4 more times for 5-year agreements.
Okay. Questions?
No,
I'll, go ahead. I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. I'm, from my perspective, this is, we already own it. There's no downside. We already are doing this on every other tower and every other water tank that we own. And I just don't see that this is any different. We've already done this, we've debated it, and we're well into it for 10 years, more than 10 years. So I'm all for it, it's fine.
Move,
Go ahead, Kevin.
okay. Resolve to authorize the first selectman in the name and on behalf of the town to execute and deliver a lease agreement with Selco Partnership, DBA Verizon Wireless for transmission equipment on the Niantic Fire Department Tower on Grand Street and related ground space for an initial term of 5 years and an initial rental of $6,000 per year.
Second.
We have a motion, it's been seconded. Any further comment?
Yes. Is this company paying taxes on this?
For the equipment on the site? I believe
Yeah.
they do pay, yeah.
I believe that
Property
the
tax.
assessor assesses taxes for the equipment on the site against these types of operations.
Thank you. And is this in any way related to the fiber optics?
Totally separate. It's a separate. Outside Niantic Firehouse, we're going to have a portion about a little bigger than the podium, and that'll just be about, I think it's 3.5 feet wide by 5 feet high. It's totally self-contained with their own power, and then runs 2 wires up to their antennas, and that's really all they have. I think it's 64 square feet they're going to occupy.
That's what it says in our agreement. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? We'll move the motion here then. I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Thank you very much, Chris.
welcome.
And good work on all that research and background on that. We appreciate that work.
Thank you.
2C is to accept land and improvements associated with realignment and reconstruction of East Society Road. Again, I believe in your package you'll see a street map. And what happened here is, as part of the Gateway project, this is East Society Road where they took a bend out of the road and straightened it and actually blasted through some ledge. And some of that land, the Gateway people own, a corner of that road. So we're, during the construction and property transfer was previously approved by the Planning Commission under 8-224 referral on March 4th, 2014. The Town of East Lyme Engineering Department has been on site during the construction phase of these improvements and have been completed to the town standards the road has. The East Lyme Engineering Department recommends that the Board of Selectmen accepts this little triangle of land and improvements depicted on the attached map.
Second. Is he gonna make that a motion?
Yeah, we're gonna make that a motion.
Second.
Well, did someone make it a motion?
All right, whereas the East Lyme Planning Commission has recommended
I
that
thought you were
the
doing it.
town, except for public highway purposes, a certain parcel of land depicted on a map or plan entitled Property Conveyance Plan, Land of Gateway Development, East Lyme LLC, East Society Road, East Lyme, Connecticut, dated 1/1/2015. And whereas the town engineers determined that said parcel has been improved to town standard, it is resolved that the Board of Selectmen hereby accepts for public purposes the parcel depicted on the above reference plan, subject to the developer's execution and delivery of deeds and related documents as approved by the town attorney.
Second.
There we go.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Any further comment?
If you haven't been down there, it's a marked improvement.
Oh, definitely.
It's
great.
not even the same place. So I see no problem with it.
Mrs. Harding?
I think I read in the documents that this is 20 feet wide. Is that the width?
I have to make reference to the map.
I believe that I didn't highlight it, but I think that I read that it was,
I would say it's more than 20 feet.
I think
The triangle, it looks to be like 128 feet.
I misread it.
All right.
It's, oh, it said, it's-
128 by 168.93.
yep, I misread it. Thank you.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty narrow.
What happens to this used portion of Society Road?
The town owns that land and will continue to own the land. They'll either dig up the asphalt or at least put barriers so it's not used, but that is town land, it will remain so.
Okay, but would the asphalt will or will not be removed would be the town's decision
Yeah.
going forward?
Yeah.
Typically, does it get turned back into dirt, or do we just leave it and put barriers up
Do
so
you
we
know
don't
about
get?
that, Gary? Mr. McGaw was due to be here this evening. He had a family emergency, so had those answers. Gary Gaishel?
All right, Gary Gaishel, town planner. My understanding is that it's good, the asphalt's going to be removed in the area, stabilized and seeded.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I wasn't
So
sure
this
about
will
that.
be a public access road, not just for the residents of the Gateway
This will be a
condos.
public road.
Public road.
Up until and just before, they've installed a rotary down there. If you haven't driven down there yet, when you do, you'll see this rotary before you turn up the hill toward the apartments.
Mhm.
So East Society Road, which it is a town road now, will continue to be a town road. When the road goes through to what is proposed to be a Costco and continues and is finally completed, that whole strip will be a town road. The roads leading up to the apartments will be private roads
And those will be maintained by the owners.
by the
Of
owners.
the development.
That's correct.
And do they have to, as it's not going to be a town road, then they do not have to conform to zoning regulations as far as steepness and drainage, et cetera?
I'll defer to my zoning.
You talking about this road here?
The road that goes to the apartments, the one that
private
goes
road.
up to the
Private.
hill, I'm sure it has to meet standards.
Yeah.
But not necessarily town public road standards. They can put their own curbing in if they wish.
They had to go through the whole engineering department on that,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Just one question, the East Society Road that's gonna be torn up, is that developer paid to tear that up, or is that town gonna pay for that?
I think we're doing that.
Okay.
I believe we're doing that. Yeah.
There's not much left to it anyway.
It's very
true.
narrow,
It's
very
true.
short. And we might be able to actually grind it up and reuse it. They do that, we have a motion on the table. It's been seconded, so we'll call a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Ayes have it. D is the appointments. I received a letter from Judith Rondo from the Niantic River Watershed group, and she explains that Marvin Schutt's appointment ended on December 31st. I'm not the first to thank Marvin for his years of service, and I won't be the last, but it couldn't be more genuine and sincere. So, Mr. Marvin Schutt, thank you for all the work you've done on behalf of this particular commission, the Niantic Watershed, but to the town as a whole. Thank you very much, sir. It's been recommended that Don Danila replace him on the Niantic Watershed, and then he is now a alternate on that commission, so he'll move up as a full-seated member, and then Ralph Bates would come in as to take Don's place as an alternate.
I'll move to appoint Don Danilo of 24 Patagonia Drive, Niantic, Connecticut, to serve on the Niantic River Watershed Committee through January 8th of 2018.
Second?
Motion is on the table and second. Any further comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain?
And then I'll move to appoint Ralph Bates. Oh, I'm sorry. Roseanne.
We can't appoint him as an alternate because that isn't vacant yet. Dan DeLillo is still the full-time member. So.
Can you-
we-
Contingent upon his
So
resignation.
I would suggest that we wait until the next meeting to appoint the
Alternate.
alternate.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, man.
I won't fight you on that. I think you're right. Or we could
Happens
do
a
a
lot.
contingent upon a vacancy, but
Mhm.
that's okay. We also have, I don't know that I have it in my book, but we have, I need to be appointed to the Southeastern Connecticut Water Authority. of which I attended this past week, but could not be a voting member, and SCARA representative. I think you have some motions for that, sir?
Right. Move to appoint Mark Nickerson of 15 Jean Drive, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve as the town's representative to SCWA, Southeastern Connecticut Water Authority, through September 1st of 2015.
Second.
We have a motion, it's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay.
And I'll move to appoint Mark Nickerson of 15 Jean Drive, East Lyme, Connecticut, to serve as the town representative to the Southeastern Connecticut Regional Resource Recovery Authority through December 7th of 2015.
Second?
All right, it's been seconded. Any comment? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, and we'll move on. The special appropriation of $161,770 for the procurement of a consultant and the expenditure for the J. Luce grant. Mr. Gaishel will come back to the podium and give us the brief history on where we were, because we've seen this before.
Yes.
Remind us of what we
So-
approved before and then what we're doing tonight.
So we previously approved going forward with the grant application. And at that time, our former first selectman, Paul Formica, was authorized to make that submittal. What we had to do is go back and amend the grant to secure the remaining federal funds that it would take to actually pay the consultant. What they awarded was $12,000 initially, which covered some variety of things, some software and things like that that would be needed for the purpose of the grant. We've since made our application to amend the grant in the amount of $161,770. I did provide you with the budget, and I would just note that all that $161,770 is completely reimbursable by way of the federal grant. And in the budget, you'll see that the in-kind services, we didn't change. They're roughly $25,639, 13%. The minimum requirement for the grant was 10% match. So the money will be reimbursed. What this will do is allow us to hire a consultant. We had a selection team that met over about a month's period of time. We interviewed the 4 consultants that submitted proposals to conduct the study. We decided to go with Matrix Design Group out of Arizona. They have done over 30 J-list land use studies. So I think they're well qualified, and they were also the lowest bidder. So with that, obviously, this does need to go to a town meeting as well, Board of Finance, hopefully on the 11th.
Correct.
Any
Questions?
other questions?
Okay. Okay. Then I'll move to approve a special appropriation in the amount of $161,770 grant from the Department of Defense Community Planning Assistance Fund in CNRE Fund 32 for the joint land use study and forward to the Board of Finance for approval. This is a joint venture with the towns of East Lyme, Old Lyme, and Lyme for Stones Ranch Military Reservation and Camp Niantic.
Second?
It's been seconded. Any other comments, questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Wonderful. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Good luck with that. We'll be looking, how long do you think? 18 months, you said, back before we start seeing results?
It has to be completed within 15 months.
Okay.
And then there's a 3-month grace period just to submit the final report. So we're going to get going on this probably late
So about
February.
18 months.